Hello, my dear viewer. This is going to be kind of a short one. There's a new Paradox game announced. It's called Afterworld. It's post-apocalyptic. It looks kind of interesting. It looks like a mix of kind of, their usual grand strategy 4X kind of game. Maybe a bit of Civ in here, I'm noticing. I don't know, it does seem very interesting that they would do this. I very much do like post-apocalyptic settings. I kind of prefer dystopian things, but post-apocalypse is definitely, pretty high on my list. And I'm just maybe going to go through a little bit of this, just look through it, maybe give some thoughts. Anyways, yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so he's talking about how he's wanted to make a post-apocalyptic game, kind of probably in the Paradox style. Mix of the procedural sides of Stellaris and the historical side of their other games. So maybe there's going to be a bunch of different kind of, almost like Stellaris, a bunch of different pre-made civs, and then you can create your own. You can create your own ideology. You can make raiders. You can make, peaceful guys that are just trying to do whatever. Maybe even a Brotherhood of Steel technological focused faction. That sounds pretty cool. For a post-apocalyptic game, I think that's definitely part of it. Because there could definitely be a lot of emergent gameplay made with that. I'm starting in Florida and I'm next to another guy who's a raider and I'm this or that. That could be very interesting. It's kind of cool in a way. Right here it says it's going to be like dark and gritty and explores humans in extreme situations. Now, I think it would be very interesting in a game like this, let's say you're playing raiders, to have slaves maybe, or to have stuff like that really, gives you options. You have options. Maybe you're trying to play, I don't know, you can play it any way you want. That would be very cool. Post-apocalypses, they're often very bleak and dark, and I think adding bleak and dark content would really work out in its favor. Okay, so just its kind of design philosophy, or pillars as they say here. Adapt to survive. You'll need to adapt to what occurs. Maybe more Crusader Kings than Hearts of Iron. Maybe something you're doing. Maybe I want to form Chudia and form a kingdom over there and do all that. Well, whoops, there's 3 conquerors and I gotta think about it. I gotta think about what I need to do in that situation. That's pretty cool, right? They're trying to rediscover lost tech, rediscovery. So you're not inventing new things, which is good for, if it's see, that's my problem with Fallout, especially Fallout 4. It's so long after the apocalypse that there would definitely be people who have rebuilt some sort of society. So maybe if this is right after the kind of apocalypse, you really are one of those, you're first out of the vault, so to say. You don't exactly have everything you need to create a perfect society. All of that wasn't archived. So you kind of have to search around. You have to rediscover how to make machine guns, stuff like that. That could be very fucking interesting. And here it's also like shape your society. So you could create your own little guys, do what you want. Again, this is what I was saying earlier. You can create some fucked up shit, apparently. I hope so. Accessibility, now, this is where I kind of have an issue. Because when you make one of your design philosophies accessibility, like they're saying without sacrificing complexity and depth, but how many people can play Dwarf Fortress comfortably and they're like a regular normie who plays like FIFA? Trying to make your game deep, but also trying to make it like that without... Well, trying to make a game deep and accessible is a fucking shit way to go about it. You either go one or the other. You do not want to try appeal to everybody. I don't like this one, quite frankly. Now, immersive and tangible. Yeah, it... Oh, rather than board game rules. So maybe it's not actually going to be like Civ, like I thought. That's kind of cool. Mana currencies. Okay, so there's no mana. Maybe they're going to make it a bit like Victoria 3, which isn't a good thing. Maybe EU5 is a better example of that, actually. Yeah, I mean, trying to make it like EU5 might not be the greatest in the world because, you know, EU5. Okay, so he's talking about how usually a Paradox game has like a little side genre. He's talking about this, you know, CK is more of an RPG, Victoria's economic sim. Well, these guys want to make it more like a survival game. So maybe it might be a bit like Frostpunk. I think Civilization might have been a mistake on my part saying, maybe it's a bit more like Frostpunk or something, where you're kind of, you know, on a knife's edge a bit. You're trying to survive, rather than, any of the other games here, or even Civ, where it's a lot more like a board game. Oh, I was also wrong. So it has established characters and factions. That's cool. That's fucking cool. Okay, actually, I was mentioning Solaris earlier, and it says, it lets you start the backstory of your tribe. So you don't actually start out with a bunch of predefined things. You kind of develop into whatever. So you can develop into raiders. That's cool. You know, my final thoughts about this are Paradox games often release in a completely terrible, just not playable state. EU5 is a good example of how, or even Vic 3, they come out in these states where nobody's going to want to play them, and you're going to need the DLC in the future, you're going to need all that stuff. So I hope to God Paradox has learned their lesson and releases this new, by the way, brand new IP in a fully developed state. Because if that is not the case, this will fail terribly. Again, I'm Goy Cattle, so I'm gonna buy it on launch, and I'm cautiously optimistic, but I don't know. It seems interesting. A post-apocalyptic America. Very, very interesting. And you're kind of contending with all these pre-built factions that already exist, and it's kind of Mad Maxy with the cars in the trailer and stuff. Maybe you try rebuild America, or just your raiders who are raiding. It sounds like something I would really like. So let's hope this game isn't too shit on launch, okay? Please, Paradox. Just this fucking once. Anyways, thank you for watching this kind of short video. Just on my thoughts, my rambles about this new Paradox game coming out. This new grand strategy game. We'll see you in the next one. I have a video coming out Wednesday. I wonder what it could be. Ooh, bet you're excited for that one. Anyways, goodbye.